We're doing business as usual. We're doing Goodr. And then the coronavirus hits and everything stops.
At least 6 people have died in an outbreak of the new coronavirus.
So at least 565 people are dead.
At this moment, we have 22 patients in the United States currently that have coronavirus. Unfortunately, one person passed away overnight.
The coronavirus starts to really devastate the world. And I have been watching it for, I would say, about the past month or so. I actually just came back from vacation for my birthday. And all of a sudden, one day, it's like, okay, there's an international travel ban. You can't travel from Europe. And everyone in the office is really just freaking out. For me, I was trying to decide, like, do I let people work from home? Is it that bad in Georgia? So much was going through my head, and I was really still trying to learn a lot about coronavirus. So I just made the decision to actually let my team work from home. At one point, I really was sitting here thinking, like, how is my business gonna survive this? You know, I'm watching the stock market. I'm watching my own personal stocks, money that I had recently invested. I watched basically all the money I personally invested just get erased in a day. I started thinking, like, I'm never gonna raise money in this climate. I don't have any customers to sell to because everyone's gonna be gone. All the businesses are closing. There's not gonna be any food. And I was freaking out.
From an ops perspective, I was like, oh no, this is gonna shut us down like everybody else. And then we kept getting certain clients will call and say they wanted to suspend service because they didn't feel comfortable with us recovering food and donating it on their behalf because of, you know, legal implications and things like that. So we tried to pivot our clients from surplus food recovery to organics recycling, where we would pick up the food and compost it or turn it into mulch instead of feed it to other folks. But then we had, you know, companies that weren't even comfortable with that. So from an ops perspective, I'm like, how are we gonna continue to make payroll? You know, we might get shut down and do, you know, we're a startup, so we don't have, you know, 5 and 10 years of runway like big corporations do.
But then I started to decide, like, you know what, Jasmine, this is really where you're good at. Like, you work well under pressure. You work well of getting food to people that need it. And I just decided it was go time. I was meeting a lot of social workers at our APS sites, and they were telling me about students that they knew of in their communities that really had no access to transportation and that these kids were really gonna be struggling with food. So I tweeted, we have an opportunity to sponsor families. We have families in need. If you'd like to sponsor a family, we will go grocery shopping for them and deliver it to them. And we started to get people sponsoring families. And so the funds were coming in, and we were able to, in the first week, deliver groceries to about 91 families. So it was a true pivot in our model where we typically get food from businesses and get it to nonprofits. And we were still able to do that. So in the first week, we helped APS deliver over 130,000 meals to students. We got about 52 tons of food from local businesses in Atlanta like Coca-Cola, State Farm Arena, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, NASCAR, and we got all of that food to our nonprofits. And then we were able to add on this grocery service to where we now started being able to get food directly to families. And then we get a call from Atlanta Public Schools. They're like, hey, we want to activate the partnership we have with you guys. So we had already had an MOU in place with APS to divert their excess food from some of the schools that had a little bit more to the students that had a lot less. And so that agreement was already in place. And then when schools were canceled, APS reached out to us and said, we're gonna really need you guys to help us get food to these apartment complexes and students that can't get to our grab and go sites. So it was like, okay, team, we're like back to work again. We also got a great call from State Farm and the Atlanta Hawks. I pitched to the Hawks like, hey, you guys have done pop-up grocery stores with us before. We need this now more than ever. Would you be willing to do another pop-up grocery store with us? And to my surprise, they said yes. And not only do we want to do it, State Farm wants to do it as well. So we are hosting a series of 5 pop-up grocery stores. And these things are critical. I mean, they are selling out tickets. We're letting families register, of course, for free, but the tickets will sell out in a matter of hours because the need is so high right now. I'm just really happy that Goodr is here and we're able to stand in the gap. And so a week and a half ago, I was like, how is my business ever gonna survive? And here I am now doing more work than I've ever done. So today is our first pop-up grocery store. It's at the Promise Center, which is on the west side of Atlanta. We're expecting about 350 families today. So we're doing volunteer groups and shifts. We're really trying to practice social distancing, not having a lot of volunteers in one place. So we have a group of volunteers that are gonna be here from about 10:30 in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have another shift of volunteers that is gonna serve in the afternoon and really help us serve these families. We have a lot of food for these families. So this is no, fly-by-night grocery store. It is a real grocery store. Each family is leaving with about 4 to 5 bags of food. They're gonna have a perishable bag with eggs, chips, bread, buns, dinner rolls, all the stuff that you could think of. Then we have a shelf-stable bag that has cereal, oatmeal, condiments. It has pasta, macaroni and cheese, hamburger helper, rice, all the things that families need to kind of get by. Our meat bag, every meat bag contains hot dogs, it contains lunch meats, as well as 2 10-pound bags of meat. So we have ribs, we've got shrimp, we've got chicken leg quarters, chicken wings, chicken nuggets, you name it, ground beef, ground turkey. Families get to choose 2. We also have Gatorade, water, milk, and then we're making sure that every family leaves with a 10-pound bag of produce as well. So we are really trying to make sure that these families have a minimum of 2 weeks of food and they get it for free. And so as you can imagine, the line is gonna be long, but we're gonna serve a lot of families today.
I got 11. All week taking food to people.
So this is all lunch meat, hot dogs, and then every family gets lunch meat and hot dogs. Seems like we have way more than 300, but I think it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, that definitely should be separated.
Yeah, she's cutting them right here. She's my scissor lady, is what we calling her. She's cutting them up. Now, I don't know if you guys know this too. I gave them scissors outside. Next week, we'll come and get it, but I think we'll be fine. Okay. All right, let's just roll that out right by the cheese. Right here. Yeah, right by the We're gonna pre-make bags and we're gonna take them outside. And so we'll have families lined up. They'll sign a waiver. Once they sign a waiver, they're gonna get, let me see those tickets. So they'll sign a waiver. So I need like 1 or 2 volunteers that are just gonna sign waivers. I'll probably use the Promise Center staff for that since they know a lot of the families. Once they sign the waiver, they'll get 2 tickets. And this is gonna be what they'll get to use for meat outside. We're gonna take 5 people in at a time and we're gonna move them really fast. So what we're gonna do next is actually just make these bags for them. We will bring the bags out. So we'll have a few people in here just making bags and then a few people passing them out to families. So we'll constantly be refilling. They're gonna get the same stuff in every bag. We'll probably do a bag of things that are like perishable, if you will. So you'll make your bags and you'll put, let's say, eggs, cheese, chips, and bread on the top. That will be one bag. Then you can make another bag that maybe has cereal, fruit. These big boxes of like fruit snacks and granola bars, you'll open those up and put a few in those. We also have boxes of Hot Pockets. Same thing, just putting a few of those in the bags. And then I guess these juice boxes, we probably should just bring those out and the water out so the families could just grab those. We also are gonna have a pallet of Gatorade that's gonna be outside and the families could just take that outside with them. It's like a whole case of 24 different Gatorades. And then we have milk, which we need to put on ice. So we have almond milk. I guess we'll put all the beverages outside. So that might be something that we have to do next is get all these drinks outside. Every family should get a couple of Lunchables, a couple, let's do 1 thing of cheese, so 1 thing of sliced cheese. So in the bags from a meat standpoint, every family should get lunch meat and hot dogs. So the bags that we're making out here that everyone's gonna get should have lunch meat and hot dogs in them. Then they'll get eggs, cheese, breads. You guys can see they're getting a lot of stuff, but we also are gonna try and get a lot of families out. So we need to basically make 600 bags of food and then have people out there making produce bags. We also have whole bags already done of like apples and oranges that they could just grab and take with them. So yeah, we just wanna make it a really nice event. We're gonna be constantly making those bags, so just know that. So we probably wanna get 50 made just to start, and that'll probably take us through like the first 30 minutes. Let's get 100 made just to start, and that'll probably take us through like the first 30 minutes or so. If you run out of something, it's okay. Every bag is not gonna have everything. So condiments, anything that's in double packs, we'll just have to open up. So if it's already double packed or it's in these big packs, we'll open up. I would do cereal or oatmeal, but not cereal and oatmeal. So in a bag, you'll do cereal or oatmeal. How many meat tickets do they get? Two. Can they get meat without a ticket? No. No, okay. How many snacks do they get? A couple, yes. So I just want to say thank you. I mean, we're gonna be doing these every week for the next 5 weeks. So every Friday, and we're gonna do them all around Atlanta. So we hit different families.
At the Promise Center, that's when shit got real in reference to the COVID-19 virus. That was our first activation since the virus started. So to see the patrons lined up, having to stay 6 feet apart with masks on, was a reality check for me. But it kind of gave me reassurance that it was meant for us to be there, because in this time, people need us more than ever. It was interesting because the cops came and tried to shut us down because we had too many people in one area, even though we had them spaced at 6 feet apart and we're following all the regulations. Just making sure that we were still able to service those who were there to be serviced was just a big thing for us, and definitely a reality check.
I think this last week, especially during this quarantine pandemic, has really humbled me more than ever. I did a little bit of everything. I was grocery shopping, I was helping at the actual pop-up shop, making sure everyone had their beverages. We all were splitting our time getting the groceries and putting the bags together. I was also helping manage the volunteers, making sure everyone had a job. So I just kind of fit in where I felt like there were needs at.
We are doing some really great social distancing work, so families have to stand at cones, and then they'll be called up one at a time, and they'll be 6 feet apart from each other the entire time. Even with everything that's happening with coronavirus and COVID-19 right now, there are thousands of stories of farmers having to pour milk, smash eggs, potatoes. There's this picture going around from Idaho, the state of Idaho, mountains and mountains of potatoes, where at the same time you see pictures of thousands of cars in line to get food from a food bank. So you have all this food that's going to waste, all these people that are going hungry, and it just doesn't make sense to me. I thank God every day really for access and opportunity and the work that we've been able to do at Goodr during probably one of the most trying times of our lives. And when everything was first taking place with COVID-19, I remember being in the office, really just planning on helping businesses that were gonna have to close, get all their excess food to our nonprofit partners and to people that were hungry. So that was my big focus, hey, these businesses are gonna close, we can't let any of this food go to waste because people are gonna be going hungry, so I understood that. I have for years been talking about how food waste was an issue, how good food shouldn't be going to waste when people are going hungry, but also I've been talking about the plight of hunger. And now I think people started to understand how real it was, and it's unfortunate that it took a pandemic to see a lot of the societal ills that we're dealing with, but also this pandemic put a lot of people in the place and in that same position of the people that I've been talking about for so many years. A lot of people have experienced hunger that never did before, and that has really shaped the work that we've been doing.
Still to come on Growing Goodr.
Check this out, we about to do this getting ready. Check this out. Come on. Getting ready. We getting ready. I say, girl, don't you do that. I say, girl, don't you do that. I say, boy, don't you do that. I say, boy, don't you do that.